Robert E. Howard, Hester Howard, Isaac Howard, Cross Plains Project Pride, and the Robert E. Howard Foundation need your help to protect the Howard House Museum. In a break from our usual videos, the Robert E. Howard Foundation is making this important announcement video concerning the Robert E. Howard House. In September of 1919, the Howard family, Dr. Isaac Howard, his wife Hester, and their 13-year-old son, Robert, moved from the town of Burkett, Texas, where they had been staying in a rented house. They moved into a home that Dr. Howard had just bought in the town of Cross Plains. This house would be where Robert, or as he liked to be called, Bob, lived the rest of his life and wrote most of his yarns from until his death in 1936. It was also the last place where Hester spent the rest of her life until her death, a day after Bob's. Doc Howard remained in the house until complications from ill health forced him to sell it and move in 1942 to live with another family until his death in 1944. The house was built around 1910 or 1911 and was built from a kit. At the time it was put up, the builders weren't thinking in terms of building a house to stand for the next 115 years. While Doc Howard added on to the house, and subsequent owners made more additions and minor repairs or even stopgap repairs, the house slowly aged past its original lifespan. When the civic organization of Cross Plains, Project Pride, bought the house in the early 1990s, they made some minor repairs to try and put it in good shape, and they turned it into a museum for the Howard family, and especially the town's most famous son, Robert E. Howard. It has been placed on the National Registry of Historic Places and the State of Texas Historic Places lists, all in honor of our favorite author, Bob Howard. Now the years and lack of major upkeep have finally caught up with the house, and it is in major need of repair work. On September 29th, two specialists in historic place restoration made an initial examination of the house after problems were noticed by Project Pride. Here is what they found. Today, we are here at the Robert E. Howard House Museum. We brought some specialists in to start taking a look at the potential damage to the house that's going to be repaired. I have in front of me Blair Knighty, who is a
architectural historian.
All right.
With Kimley-Horn.
And what did you find in your assessment of the house, Blair?
We found a lot of piers have been maybe removed and replaced with inappropriate material, pavers, mix of whatever was on hand, stones, 2x4s. So it appears that there's been some sinking with the foundation and there's been repairs over time, and those maybe repairs weren't the greatest repairs, and so they are failing again. So that's one of the issues we found. We found some termite damage, moisture damage in this bathroom area, which is an addition, so that's good news. We anticipated a lot of moisture damage due to all the sloping floors, but really it appears that a lot of it is the hodgepodge pier repair. Funny enough, the corners that have the original piers, those are not sinking. So the original piers are great. They do need to be repointed, excuse me, and so that's a big deal. We wanted to investigate whether or not that vertical trim board delineated the original house, because that's usually what that is an indication of. But when we went to the attic, we didn't really notice any differentiation between those portions of the house. We did find that there was a stove in the kitchen right where the wall kind of meets, so we knew that's where the kitchen started, so that's good. We also found the original pipe for where the stove would have been in the bedroom too, in the Howard's bedroom, so that was pretty cool. There are some vertical support beams missing in the front portion of the house, whereas there are already some on the back half, so we might want to look at investigating that. A little bit of moisture issues in the attic, but nowhere near, maybe one or two hodgepodge little pieces missing that are damaged. I think that's the synopsis of what we found today.
And this is all just preliminary at this point?
Everything's super preliminary. We're not contractors. We're really just doing a conditions assessment to see. We tried to do very minimal invasive investigations. Like you can see, we just kind of dug to see underneath the metal. We didn't rip a bunch of metal off. We didn't want to cause repairs after we leave, right? We just want to see what is the extent of some of the damage. And I think we did that today. I think we really found out, like, there's some foundation issues. It's a raised foundation. It's not a slab. It's on piers. The piers have degraded over time. They were repaired inappropriately, and they need to be repaired better.
Have anything to say?
I do, yeah, sure, but I haven't thought about it yet. Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Shanks. Some of y'all probably know me. I also work for Kimley Horn now, and so when Arlene came to me at Howard Days this year and pointed out that there were issues with the house, that you can see there's some buckling on this side, and it appears that the whole west side of the house seems to be sloping down. I realize now I work for a civil engineering company, and we have architectural historians like Blair and folks like that specialize in this kind of work. You guys know me, I'm an archaeologist. I'm a below ground guy. Structures, I know just enough to be dangerous. But I do know enough to get the right people to come in and take a look. And so that's what we've been doing here today. They use me for what I'm good at, which is digging holes to get up under the house here. We used a borescope to look under there, after we dug it down, to get underneath this metal sheeting that's been basically a skirt that's been put around the entire house. That skirt itself is probably part of contributing to some of the problems here, because it's trapping moisture underneath the house, and so that's something we might want to think about replacing with something that's more breathable. I did go up in the attic, as Blair said. We did find some things up there. We know where there were 2 wood stoves now in the house. Obviously the one in the kitchen, but there was another one that we did know about, because you can see the chimney on the roof. But we found the hole for the stovepipe for Howard's parents' room. We did locate that. The back of the house here that was added on by Isaac, by Howard's father, when they moved in 1920, where the bathroom and indoor plumbing was added on. That's where we did find a lot of termite damage that's going to have to be dealt with, mostly because it's wicking up moisture, and that moisture attracts termites, so it's kind of a double whammy. So that's an area that's going to really have to be taken care of. But the big thing is, as Blair said, we have problems with the whole foundation of the house, and we need to really go in here and probably do some work that will not just fix the problems that are here now, but also make it so that in the future we don't have these problems again. And in doing so, I think what we will probably end up doing is returning it in a lot of ways back to the appearance closer to what it was when Howard lived here. That's what we're finding, is that some of the additions and improvements and repairs that have been made in the decades since the Howards lived here have actually inadvertently contributed to some of the damage that we're seeing here, right? And so maybe taking it back even more to its original form might actually help alleviate some of that in the future. So this is going to be a major project, and so we're going to probably be looking to you fans for support to help on this. This is kind of an all hands on deck kind of thing. We've got to save the Howard house.
As you can see, much will need to be done to make sure this historic home is kept standing so that fans from all over the world can come to see and pay their respects at the place where Robert E. Howard lived and did most of his writing. It is still early in the process of determining what all will need to be done to the house, and as Cross Plains is a small town of less than 1,000 inhabitants, it will be up to us fans of Robert E. Howard to help out with meeting the costs of the repairs. The foundation is planning some fundraising projects, and a GoFundMe account will be created for donations. Please stay tuned to this channel or the Robert E. Howard Foundation website for more information as the repairs that are needed and their costs become more formalized.